Zell Boy Army. I hope you boys are doing well today. Got an absolute banger of a video today. The insane 30-0 tactics that helped me get top 20 in the world this weekend. It was one of the sweatiest weekend leagues of the year, being a team of the season weekend. We're going to get a pack that has 11 La Liga team of the season, so we're hoping for Ramos, Suarez, Varane, and of course Lionel Messi. You can see there, 19th in the world. Played some very good people this weekend. I encourage you to stick around to the end of this video, because if you've watched some of my tactic videos before, this is an updated version. I made quite a few tweaks that they didn't make a crazy difference, but they did that little bit extra that just grinded out a few wins that I think if I hadn't made these updates, I might not have been able to get the 30-0. So stick around to the end, because I'm going to show you the tactic I start the game in, the tactic I go to see a game out, and the tactic I changed to come back into a game. And that one in particular has been absolutely crazy and made a huge difference to my game. The amount of games that I came back in this week was crazy. There was 2 games I scored in the 92nd minute to take it to extra time. The key moments, this tactic makes such a difference. There's so many insane parts of this tactic that I just think will make a huge difference to you guys. Whether you're a top 100 player, elite, gold, silver, this tactic's for you. So many different people have tried out a variation of it, but today's video is dedicated to showing you some of the updates, the tweaks to it. Stick around to the end. And boys, I just want to say as well before we get into it, the support on the channel has been crazy. I've never seen numbers like we have in the last week. We've had about 1,000 subscribers in the last 3 days. The likes, the comments, you boys really are killing it. I really do appreciate that. Anyone who's new to this channel and you like this type of content, please subscribe every single day at 7 o'clock. New spicy content for you, helping you guys improve at the game. Player advice, tactics, gameplay tutorials. Appreciate you boys a lot. Let's get into it. I'm going to show you the tactics, and then we will get into the actual gameplay itself. So I'll show you the tactics, explain how they work, and then in the actual game, well, I'll show you some actual gameplay so you can see how the tactic works. I don't like videos where people just show tactics and don't show how to use it. So I'll show you the tactics, explain it, and then I'll show you in depth how to use each formation, each tactic, and how it can make a big difference for you. Okay, so the tactic I started is my defensive one. The balanced defensive style is pretty much the best throughout the game. I use the balance to start with because it is literally the most balanced. It makes a huge difference compared to starting on drop back or one of the high pressure ones. I don't recommend the high pressure ones because your team just seem to pull out of position. One of the keys that I always emphasize in my videos is this FIFA, you really need to hold your defensive shape, keep the structure, not dive in. Balanced allows you to still press and still be effective with that, but at the same time, you're not too vulnerable to attacks in behind and pace, which is a lot better on this FIFA. One of the updates we made is we've changed the width from 3 to 4. That might not sound like a lot, but if we go off the old tactics, that's an extra 10 on the number. And what this does, I found, is it just helped against people who were playing really sweaty, playing through balls down the line. The upping the width did make a big difference, and I found that it's helped me a lot against people who just try to spam balls down the line. You do have to make sure still you're controlling your CDMs and cover the middle of the pitch well. When we get to the instructions, you'll see how that works. The depth I've left on 3. If you feel you're really struggling to press in this tactic, then maybe you could up the depth to 4. I probably wouldn't go higher than that, but I found I still can press in this. If you find you're struggling because you keep getting done in behind, then maybe lower the depth. But make sure you control the CDMs, because that really works well in this tactic. The offensive style, I've kept it on balanced. I didn't want to change this. I think balanced is generally the best style in nearly all situations. We've kept the width on 5. You could maybe, in some games if I'm really struggling to break down the middle, this is one of the updates I do. I will tweak it to 4 width, because it does make quite a difference against people who are just defending really narrow in the middle. But ultimately in the 4-2-3-1, one of the attacking patterns you want is to go down the wings to then cut back into the middle where there's more space. Another update, we've put players in the box to 6. Having players in the box on 6 has made quite a big difference, because it just gives me that little bit extra option. I've also updated the instructions on the Lamb and the Ram to put them on getting to the box. I experimented with it for a weekend and I just found it helped with driven crosses to the back post, but even more, just when I'm around the box, just gave me that little extra option to get those goals. And I've also put the corners and free kicks down to 2. This has helped me not get counter-attacked on set pieces as much, And I found I don't even need that many men up on corners for the type of corners I want to take. So you can see there, that's the formation. I think the key in this formation is CDMs. At least one of them needs to be able to attack. So obviously we've got De Bruyne for that. And then Richarlison, Son, the 5-star weak foots in the middle are absolutely huge. They make a big difference because it makes you so much more unpredictable in the middle of the pitch where the danger is. But the Lamb and the Ram are so key as well because they stretch teams. So you need pace out wide. And I like to have, if they don't have 5-star weak foot, they like to have someone on their strong foot cutting in. So a right footer at Lamb and a left footer at Ram. So Mahrez and Mbappe are perfect for that. The instructions: stay central, stay forward on the striker. I'm never going to lie to you guys and just make stuff up. If there's not drastic change in some areas, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. Stay central is the best in this game because you want the striker in the middle of the pitch where the danger is. You don't want to be changing the mixed attack because if you put getting behind, target man, false nine, they just make stupid runs. Mixed attack they still do, but this one's the best. And then stay forward. I want the striker to stay forward and be an outlet. So when I lose the ball, I've still got someone up there if I need to get it to him. The cam, one of the updates we've made is we've put him on stay on the edge of box. So the main update in this tactic we've probably done is we've kept come back on defence on all the cams, but I've put the outside cams on getting to box. So that gives us more width and stretches defences more, I found. I didn't find it work, or find even it worked on a few patches ago, but on the recent patches just seemed to make a difference for me. Maybe I've just got better at the game, but yeah, it works for me. And I've put stay on the edge of the box for Son, so I don't have too many players flooding the box. And I've still got Son will still get in the edge of the box a lot of the time, by the way. But it just means he sits a little bit deeper and he's there for a really good cutback option. My CDMs I've also changed to balanced defense instead of cut passing lanes. I don't really know why, but I've just found recently it's just made a difference and managed to mean that I just defend around the edge of the box better. It's upped my defensive game. I've left them on cover centre, but this is a slight update. If you have an out-and-out beast defensive midfielder like Vieira, Kante, Sissoko, someone who's maybe a bit of a beast defensively but not as good going forward, I've now changed that to put them on stay back while attacking. It hurts my attack slightly, but I still do use Vieira. I bring him forward. I use him around the midfield to build up, and he's still good enough on the ball to do that. But he doesn't score, and his shooting so bad in general that I don't want him in the attacking position. It's just stop the counter attacks, and then everyone else is on stay back while attacking. So that is the 4-2-3-1. The general gist of this one is I will stick with this all game except for if I'm losing with about 30 minutes to go by a goal. If I'm losing by 2, I will change to my ultra attacking at 45 minutes, and then if I'm winning by maybe 2 goals, I'll change to around 60 minutes. As soon as someone starts to team press, I will go to this ultra defensive tactic. If someone's team pressing, you need to keep the ball bare. So this is the tactic I go to. One of the updates to this is I've kept the depth, but I've upped the width. I found, even though it's quite a wide natural formation, it was still getting done a bit down the wings and people still finding a bit of joy there. So I've upped the width. I've kept it on drop back. I don't generally recommend drop back, but when you just try and deal with someone who's on team press, you don't really want to be pressing them back. You just want to sit deep and soak up pressure. So drop back's really good for that. The offensive balance style I've also updated. I've changed that from possession to balanced. I kind of like possession, but it gave me no threat going forward. And having no threat going forward made it quite hard to create chances. And you're not really trying to score too much, but you want it to be that if your opponent leaves a gap when they're pressing you, that you can punish them. And balance does this a lot more. I think I've kept the players in box actually same, and I've kept the width because I want lots of width. In the 4-2-3-1-2 is what we use for this ultra defensive tactic. And then instructions, I keep my striker on getting behind in this one actually because I don't want him on mixed attack because I want him to just keep making runs in behind because that helps against people pressing you, having runners in behind. The cam, most of the instructions here I've just kept on the same. Balanced defense, cover centre, stay back on the CDMs because I don't want to get caught out on a counter attack. Come back on defense on the cam. I probably would use stay on edge of box. Then come back on defense, stay wide, balance support on the wingers. Same on both, and then stay back on all of the defenders. You generally want to be running with the 4-2-3-1-2, that ultra defensive tactic, as soon as someone team presses you. No one can team press you for the whole game. They'll just be screwed by the end of the game. But even if they start to do it 30, 40 minutes, go to that and survive the onslaught of team press. Okay, this ultra attacking, I even went to this at 35 minutes at one point this weekend, because the problem I was having was that someone went 2-0 up against me and was just keeping the ball, just doing stupid possession, and this tactic just annihilates anyone trying to do that against you. So 4-4-2, we go constant pressure. That is the equivalent of turning team press on in game. I've lowered the width in this tactic from 10 to 7. I found I was giving way too much space up in the middle. It was still working, the tactic, but lowering the width made a difference in winning the ball back because they didn't have as much options in the middle. The depth I've kept it high. You want to push up as high as possible, pen them in, and make it as hard as possible for them to play out the back. One of the goals I'm going to show you that I score with this tactic was a great example of how the tactic works effectively. The width we have on 6. The 6 width makes a huge difference compared to when I had it on 10. I found I had the width too high, and when I've lowered the width in this tactic, it's given me more options in the box. Sometimes the 10 width was actually really good for taking the ball off the opponent and then spamming a through ball to a sub like a Dharma or Salah off the bench. But lowering the width has given me more options in the box. I use fast build up in this tactic, by the way, because I want to get the ball off my opponent and just go straight for goal. And with this tactic, you can win the ball high up the pitch and break quickly and catch your opponent off guard. The players in box, I think, is pretty much the same as what it was before. You want high players in box. I did lower, actually. I think it was 10, so we've put it to 8 to make it harder for people to just pack the box, because I need options on the edge of the box to go back to. The instructions: stay central, getting behind, stay forward, because I want to win the ball and instantly go forward. Stay forward on the wingers. I used to use stay wide on them, but I want them to sometimes come inside as well, so we've got just balanced width. Get forward, cover centre on the centre mids, same on this winger, and then join the attack on the fullbacks and stay back while attacking on the centre backs, because ultimately I don't want the centre backs to bomb forward and me literally have nothing for a counter attack. So those are the tactics, boys. We're now going to show you some examples of how the tactics play in game and some highlights from my weekend league. Of course, any questions you have about the tactics, please let me know in the comments section. Let's get into gameplay. Okay, in extra time of this game, this was a game that you're going to see some clips from earlier in the game later on in the video where I'm explaining the ultra attacking tactic. But effectively in this game I was 2-0 down and brought it back to 2-all. I'm going to show you some clips in extra time of me using the 4-2-3-1, the main tactic that I start with. So I thought I'd win the ball there. Really, I should be defending this area here with my CDMs, but I made a slight mistake. But watch here just how the team gets back. The team stays in shape, stays quite compact, and it makes it really hard. It's enough width though that the fullback can get out there. It's very hard for the opponent to break me down there. You see, I've got my CDMs, they come back, they really help the defence. They're on cover centre. I get unlucky there. But look how many men I've got around. Ultimately, these guys could come back, but they're protecting the edge of the box, which is good. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 men protecting my box. And like there, because it's kickoff, that goes through. It normally wouldn't. But even there, when he makes a good turn, I've still got 4 players in one little area surrounding him. There's not a lot he can do in that position. So this tactic, you can see there, defensively, is just so sound. Even in extra time when my team are quite tired, it's just so compact and makes it really hard for people to break it down. And this isn't even the ultra defensive one, which is even harder to break down. But this tactic as a basis to start the game on, or to go back to when you're drawing. So I didn't really mention that earlier. You should go back to this tactic. If you've had to go team press and you've got back into the game you're drawing, use this tactic, the standard defensive one I recommend again. Or if you've been winning and they get back into the game equalised, then go back to this tactic, because it's the best balanced one for defending and scoring goals in the same moment. I'm going to show you some clips here of how to build up in the 4-2-3-1. So you can see this tactic, this is the general tactic that I use. It's very good for possession. One of the reasons that I like this is the attacking patterns in this formation are just so nice. You have the Ram and the Lamb who get involved. I put Rooney on balanced attack when he came on, so with the update where I said Vieira's on stay back, if you have two CDMs who can attack and shoot, you should be putting them to balanced attack. So you see there, I've been patient. The lamb draws the right back, the ram draws the left back, and the two centre mids occupy the CDMs, which gives the cam and the striker more space to isolate the two centre backs. See there? I get a bit lucky, but I've got 4 players in the box on my standard tactic, but still cover there because the CDM seem to act quite smart, and one of them will cover if the other goes forward, and then it's an easy near post finish. But you can see there it was easy to build from the back, to pass the ball around, be calm, lots of space, and then I have options all across the pitch, from the ram to the lamb to go wide, to CDMs who bomb forward to give me options there, and then the cam and the striker. They act like little triangles with the CDM who gets forward, and it makes it very easy to break your opponent down, which I really like in this tactic. This goal here is going to show another example of me building up in the 4-2-3-1. The attacking patterns in this formation are just beautiful. I really enjoy them. You can use the fullbacks to get forward. I don't want to bring the fullbacks too far forward because I don't want to get countered on. That's one of the reasons the 4-2-3-1 is so good, by the way, because the 4-2-3-1, the patterns it has, it works fine with the 2 CDMs and the 4 attackers, that you don't need any of the back 4 to get involved. Whereas a formation like the narrow diamond, you need the fullbacks for width. But this formation gets a natural width due to the lamb and the ram. You can see here, he's kind of pressing here, so I'm using all the space I've got in this tactic, not forcing things, using the triangles, the attacking patterns in this formation to open him up. I pass that to Salah, and Richarlison's made a great run through the middle. The ram's tucked inside because I lowered the width a bit, and then it's an easy goal. I find these patterns can open people, especially people who dive in and are aggressive. If you play against people who dive in and are aggressive, you can just interlink the players with quick passing around the box, and whichever side you're on, you'll have 3 options in the ram, the cam and the striker, or the other side, the lamb, cam and the striker. Plus, normally, if you build up a bit slower and a bit more patient, which is generally what I'd recommend, you get a CDM involved and it overloads your opponent with information. One of the things I like to talk about in this game is overloading your opponent with information so they don't know how to defend against you because they have too much to think about. The 4-2-3-1, when you put the CDMs on balanced attack, is amazing for this. Okay, in this clip here, we're actually going to be showing some examples of the 4-2-3-1, the tactic I start off with, in the game for the 30-0 on Xbox. So, here you go. Get a bit lucky there. You see a lot of nice left stick dribbling, and then we do get lucky kind of in a way, but it was a foul. But if you look, we can go all the way back. This is how the formation builds up. You don't want to always just force it forward. You want to use your fullbacks, go backwards, build up slowly. See there, you left a gap for the lamb to run into. That's the main thing I use the lamb and ram for, to make space down the line and then make more space in the middle by pulling men out. Not the best pass by me, but you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 options there. I also have Vieira coming forward a bit. There, I say I get a bit lucky because Mbappe takes it, but I would have scored anyway and it could have been a penalty. I quickly switch and finish it there with Mbappe, but because I've lowered the width and I've got the player on getting to the box, he gets into the box and puts the ball in the net. There I have 4 attackers around the box. Those 4 attackers make it very easy to attack and score goals, which in other situations the opponent might be able to defend. Okay, here is another goal we score in the 4-2-3-1 in this game for the 30-0. Big game, so you need the players to step up to fight for the badge, and they really did. You can see there, Son turns. This is what you want to be going for in this formation. The control turned off when I was recording the game. See there, we go back to the CDM. They offer us an outlet. There's still a really good option to pass between these two. And there, Mahrez has come inside. We've gone to Richarlison. Son has swapped around. Sometimes they just do that, the cam and the striker. Because we've got the 5-star weak foot, we'll go back. Sometimes the software just does that. See there, quick interpassing triangles that we set up. So, and then because we've got the weak foot, we could either go that way, go there, or go that way. Ultimately, we go to Son's right, put it in the corner, and that puts us 2-0 up in a key game. You can see there the patterns in the 4-2-3-1, the big difference it makes, and how you can build up with it. Okay, here we go into the 4-2-3-1 defensive. As soon as I'm 2-0 up, and I know that he's going to be going all out to try get back into the game, I go into my super negative part of the bus tactic. That is brilliant at seeing out games. So many people, when I coach them and do analysis with them, really struggle with seeing out games, getting back into games. So that's why I really recommend the 4-2-3-1 defensive tactic, the ultra defensive one I talked about, and the ultra attacking one, which I'll show you soon. It's why I recommend that you really look into them and use them, because they'll make a big difference in your game. Game management is really important. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 men behind the ball effectively. Obviously the keeper as well, that's 10 if you count him, and then we've got the striker up there who we can use to get the ball to. It's going to be really hard for him to break down. Here you want to effectively be switching to the cams or CDMs to cover this area so they don't get an easy chance around there. I even bring the striker back there. I still offside trap every so often if there's no danger of a through ball to just push my team up so that I can't get so deep that it's too easy for them to score. You see there, I win the ball back, but it's so hard for the opponent to get the ball back in that position that I find they really struggle, not to get the ball back, to break through, in that position, because you have so many men behind the ball, so many men in shape, that people get really frustrated. The main issue you maybe have is just don't lose the ball to the team press and get caught out of position. But when you get your team in shape in this tactic, it is going to be so hard for anyone to break down the ultra defensive tactic. So in this clip here, we see an example of how I can defend in the 4-2-3-1-2, but furthermore, it also shows how you can counter in it and keep the ball. As you see there, I've got the men behind the ball, the cams have come back, help defend, but the CDM De Bruyne are there protecting the middle of the box. Not the box, but around the box where the danger is. From here I can counter. You can see there, like I said, I leave the striker up, so the striker's there as an outlet, almost like a target man at this point that can hold on to the ball and help us recycle possession. I don't force it forward though. The opponent's pressing, trying to get the ball off me, so I go backwards. You can see he's being aggressive. I switch it. You can't see the radar in this clip because this is from the Champs channel, but ultimately what I'm trying to do is recycle possession and make it so it's hard for my opponent to get the ball off me. So I'm using the space that this gives me. 4-2-3-1-2 is very good for space. It covers, you can see how wide the players get. The opposite winger will be like that. It just makes a huge difference ultimately in being able to keep the ball. It gives lots of wide options that you can keep the ball in, but then defensively it gets compact and it's very good for counter-attacks. This opponent didn't press me quite high up the pitch as much as most people do, but he was still pressing quite a lot, and you can see the space and width that this formation offers me. Okay, one of the first highlights I'm going to show you here is in the 4-4-2 ultra attacking. This was a key moment of my weekend where I was 2-0 down. This was the game where I did it basically from like 35 minutes or so, the team press tactic. This is going to show you the 4-4-2 ultra attacking in all its glory. This is just crazy, the pressure it puts on the opponent. So I'm in the white kit here. I don't normally play in this kit, but because it was on my opponent was at home, and on the Champs channel it shows that kit. So you can see me in the white kit. I'm trying to build up from a corner. He wins the ball back. Now watch what my team do. They're going crazy. Look where they are. He has no options there because everything's marked. We're penning him in. Once your opponent gets past there to like the halfway line, it's a lot easier for them to come and to get away. But this formation, 4-4-2, covers so many areas that the pitch just pens people in. You can see here, that is maybe his only option. But if he'd have done that, this guy would have gone instantly on him. See there, he tries to switch it, but he's switching it on Mahrez's right foot because he really doesn't have that many options. He's panicking, he's under pressure, and because it's fast build-up, my team instantly start to get forward, get into a good position. I play it there to Son, and because I've got the right mid, left mid, striker, and I lowered the width, changed the width from putting the wingers on 4-4-2. You can see there, it gave me a free goal. So you watch here, my opponent is under pressure, panics. There, I can see Richarlison's there. His CDMs as well have pushed up, which because of the fast build-up, you catch people out on the counter-attack. And there I turn, pass it to Son. easy goal. I'm back in a game that before I just wouldn't have been in. And this formation, you can see the crazy pressure it puts on. Okay, this is another example of the 4-4-2. You can see here the crazy counter-attack it gives me. We'll go backwards and you can watch how I get the ball back. So you are a bit more vulnerable to these type of counter-attacks. But for some reason, when you've got constant pressure or team press on, your team are just more physical and just win more 50-50s. So if Varane there wins it, and you can see my team just instantly start bombing forward. They came back from an offside position there. That was one of the reasons they slowed. But you can see there, they're bombing forward. I don't play the through ball here because I don't think it's a guaranteed chance. And in the 90th minute when I'm losing, I need everything to work. You can see there, that's my centre mid. That's bomb forward. And then we've got our striker. He's kind of swapped to get on the edge of the box to swap the centre mid. My right mid's there. So I've overloaded the box with so many players that it just overwhelms my opponent in this tactic and makes it really hard for the opponent to really know what to do. And then pass it across, easy goal. Look at that, we've got a centre mid on the edge of the box and 5 attackers. He only has 5 defenders. If you can get as many attackers in the box as defenders, your opponent's really going to struggle to defend it. And that 4-4-2 tactic, you see how we just win the ball back, counter at pace, is really hard for anyone to deal with, especially when you have a sub like Adama, Ryan Kent. For me, it's Adama, and the team this season, Salah. Off the bench, that pace and physicality down the wings just opens up so many chances, especially when you've got 2 strikers and 2 centre mids bombing forward. This tactic, this 4-4-2 ultra attacking tactic anyway, will help you come back in so many games. It will make a big difference. I can promise you, if you get good with it, it will get you an extra win or 2 that you normally wouldn't get in weekend league. Really appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope these tactics will help change your game like they've changed mine and changed so many people who've tried the variation of this tactic. Like I said, I think the tactical adjustments can make a big difference to the game for you. I think that they just do a little things that maybe work a bit better on the latest patches and can make a big difference. I really appreciate your support lately on the channel again, guys. I know I say it a lot, but it really does mean the world to me. I appreciate you guys. Any questions you have on the tactic, please let me know in the comments. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another spicy one. We might be doing part 2 of a certain video.